Anyway, good morning all of you, and this is time that we discuss a few playwrights who wrote plays in English as well as in their regional languages, and that came to be translated into English. And one among the popular was Badal Sircar. So he is regarded as a playwright of the school of Absurdism, an Absurdist playwright, like Samuel Beckett, Badal Sircar. And he brought theatre to the streets, and he initiated the third theatre. He was a great experimentalist as a writer, Badal Sircar. And originally his name was Sudhindra Sircar, and he adopted the name Badal Sircar. And he was actually associated with the Naxalite movement. He was dead in 2011 and was born in 1925. And he was born in Calcutta, a Bengali playwright, and especially noted for his plays set in the Naxalite era. So in Bengal, there was the Naxalite revolution that occurred in a village, and it came to be called a Naxalite revolution. And the revolution actually took place in the 1970s. And the world as a whole listened to the Naxalite movement that took place in Bengal. And Badal Sircar and the others were there behind the movement. And Sircar actually produced a few plays in the background of the Naxalite revolution. And he received Padma Bhushan, Padma Shri, and Sangeeta Nadaga Academy Awards, Sahitya Nadaga Academy Award also. And at a later stage he was awarded Padma Bhushan also, but he declined the award, saying that he had received already the Sahitya Nadaga Academy Award, and it seemed to be higher than the Padma Bhushan Award. And Badal Sircar actually introduced many revolutionary changes in the theatre called the third theatre. And it was called the third theatre, getting into the audience, not keeping in the stage alone, but getting into the middle of the audience. And this is the third theatre. And he had founded a traveling theatre group also, and it was called Shatabdi, Shatabdi, Shatabdi. His traveling theatre was called Shatabdi. And he brought the theatre to the streets, and it became within reach of the common man. And the theatre became so easy for the people to access into. And he brought theatre to the streets. And he has been known for many of his plays. And one very popular play written by him was Evam Indrajit. Evam means and, A-N-D and Indrajit. And it was a play written by him in 1962. And it was produced on the stage in 1965. And it was written in the Absurdist strain. It was an Absurdist play, like the plays of Samuel Beckett, Harold Pinter. This play also seemed to be an Absurdist play. Evam Indrajit. And Indrajit. It can be said as and Indrajit. And the play was translated by Girish Karnad in 1975. And when we get into the play Evam Indrajit, we come to find that this is a 3-act play. And when the play opens, a playwright is found sitting at his desk, and he has been trying to write something, and he is found writing and throwing away the written pieces. So he seems to be not satisfied with his writing. And as he has been there, his mother comes asking him to come and take his food. The mother comes and intimates him to come and to take his food. Actually, she doesn't know that the writer has been struggling to get a theme. And she doesn't actually know the frustration of the playwright. And the playwright continues to sit there, and suddenly the image of Manasi comes to him. And Manasi is actually an inspiration to the playwright. And she comes to him and asks him what he has written, asks him to show what he has written. And he tells Manasi that he has not written anything because he doesn't have a theme. And Manasi tells him to go to the people, to the audience, and to get a theme, take a story from the audience. And it seems to be a very good idea suggested by Manasi. And Manasi is actually the spiritus mundi, or we can say that she is the anima, the collection of consciousness. So actually the collection of consciousness and inspiration to the author, Manasi. And here we come to find Badal Sircar adopting the technique introduced by Carl Gustav Jung of the collective consciousness. So, and Manasi is not a living character, and she comes and intimates him to go to the audience and to get a theme. And it seems to be a good idea for the writer, and therefore the writer goes to the audience and finds that there are 4 boys sitting in the front, and they have come slightly late. And he invites the 4 boys to come to the stage. And the boys come to the stage, and the author asks them their names. And they say that they are Amal, Vimal, Kamal, and Nirmal. They say that they are Amal, Vimal, Kamal, and Nirmal. Amal is actually Amal Kumar Bose, and Vimal is Vimal Kumar Ghosh, and Kamal is Kamal Kumar Sen, and the last boy is called Nirmal Kumar. And his name seems to be slightly a different name. And the author becomes interested and asks him what is his original name. The author could not accept his name as Nirmal Kumar. So he asks the boy to give his original name, and the boy comes to say that he is Indrajit. He is originally Indrajit. And the author asks why he has not told the name, and he says that he is afraid. And the author becomes interested in Indrajit and asks him about his life. And he comes to say that he comes from an ordinary family in a village, and that he has got his parents. And so he is a student. And the author becomes interested in Indrajit. And when the conversation continues, the author gets the idea that Indrajit is in love with a girl named Manasi. So in the play there are many number of Manasis. In the opening part of the play we come to find the author is inspired by Manasi. And when we come to hear the story of Indrajit, we again come to hear the name of another Manasi. Indrajit says that he is in love with Manasi, but there are some problems. Because Manasi is his first cousin. And as far as the the Bengali people are concerned. They are not permitted to marry their first cousin. Actually, she was the daughter of his uncle, who was the brother of his mother. And in Bengal, it is not permitted to marry the first cousin. And this is one problem faced by him. And Indrajit says that he is afraid of his mother. And the author asks him whether he is interested in making travels. And Indrajit says that he is interested in making travels. And the author says that he has got only 1 rupee with him. And the author asks Indrajit how many rupees that he has got with him. How much money he has got with him. And Indrajit replies that he has got 20 rupees with him. So it means that there are 21 rupees as a whole, 1 rupee from the author and 20 rupees from Indrajit. So they can make a tour with the money to such a distance that the money will permit them go. And the author invites Indrajit to go with him for a short tour. But Indrajit refuses, saying that he is afraid of his mother and really loved by his mother. And he doesn't want to be away from his mother. And the plan is cancelled. And the author actually gets an idea of writing the play. It's the story of Indrajit. And the play is titled Evam Indrajit and Indrajit. And when we come to find the second act of the play, so the friendship between the author and Indrajit continues. And there are the other boys also. And the other boys are common boys. Amal, Vimal and Kamal. And in the second act of the play, the young men are interested in attending an interview. They want to get a job and they are to attend an interview. And they go to attend the interview, but the interviewer will come only late by 1 hour. They are asked to reach there by 10 o'clock, but the interviewer will come only by 11 o'clock. So it is at the time the author again comes there, and he comes there for what reason is not clearly known. Anyhow, he also comes there and speaks with Indrajit and asks Indrajit the reason why he has been there, and Indrajit says that he wants to marry. He likes to marry, and for that he wants to get a job. It will entail him to marry his lover. But there are again problems that the lover, his Manasi, is not prepared to marry him. She is afraid. And she wants actually to obey the rules of the society. She doesn't like to disobey her parents. And she says that so the marriage cannot be done immediately. It is to be postponed. And this is one big problem with the young man Indrajit. And Indrajit says that the women are given freedom. And it is the big problem in the society. And he quotes the example from Bible. Adam was made to eat the forbidden fruit by his wife Eve. In Paradise Lost of John Milton also, we come to find Adam eating the forbidden fruit under the influence of Eve. And here there is reference to Paradise Lost also. The women should not be given freedom, but the men should be given freedom to do what they like. And so before the interview, we find the author engaged in conversation with Indrajit. And in the second scene, we come to find Indrajit and the others are Amal, Vimal, Kamal and Nirmal. And these all people are engaged in a college working as teachers. And these all are shown as expressionistic scenes. In the play we come to find the mixing of expressionism and reality. In some occasions, we don't come to find that there is a boundary between expressionism and reality. What is expressionism and what is reality could not be separated in some occasions. And here we come to find the men working as teachers. And the author, the playwright, is also found working as a teacher. And at a later stage, we come to find these men found working in an office, doing various kinds of activities and doing the routine jobs. So wearing the same dress, the uniforms, and doing the routine jobs. And the files are also produced in a routine manner. There is nothing interesting, there is nothing special, that no one comes, that no one goes, and nothing happens. There is nothing new. Everything stale and going in a very boring manner. And this is actually the situation presented in the play. Life is almost like a circle, going round and round and never reaching anywhere. And life seems to be almost like a circle. And Indrajit becomes very bored with his life. He even thinks of committing suicide. And he meets the author. So about some 7 years after, he meets the author once again and tells the author that he has got a plan of going somewhere, some abroad country, and he goes to abroad. So he goes to London. Indrajit goes to London and stays in London, but life there also seems to be dull and boring. The same routine, the same activities, the same kind of dress, the same kind of food, and the living situation. There is nothing new. And towards the end of the play, we come to find Indrajit returning and meeting the author once again. So, and he tells the author that he had visited various lands but was never happy, had found life very dull and boring. But anyhow, Indrajit has now got married. He has got married with Manasi. But this Manasi is different Manasi. It was not the Manasi he loved in his early life. And Amal, Vimal and Kamal also come to the stage. And they have got their wives also. They are also married people. They are common people. There is nothing special for them. The one special person is Indrajit, the Nirmal. And actually these three men, Amal, Vimal, Kamal, are also married with Manasi. And their wives are also called Manasi. And there are many number of Manasis in the play. And our Nirmal is also married with a Manasi. And he comes to tell the author that life seems to be boring even after his marriage. And in some occasions he even contemplates of committing suicide. And according to him, life seems to be very boring. And it is almost like a circle of events. The same things taking place, repeating, and there is emptiness and meaningless repetition. And this is all what we come to find in the play. And towards the end of the play also, we come to find the mother of the playwright coming and intimating him to go and take his food. So in all the acts, we come to find the old mother also coming and intimating her son, the playwright, to go and to have his food. And this is written as an absurdist play, Evam Indrajit. And the three people introduced are Amal, Vimal and Kamal, and they are common. And along with these common people, the fourth person also is included. He also gets to be a common man. And it actually speaks the story of the common man. There is nothing special. In the case of Indrajit also, there is nothing special. And this is the reason why the play is called And Indrajit or Evam Indrajit. And the common men are Amal, Vimal, Kamal and Indrajit. And now he has been called by the name Nirmal Kumar Roy. He is actually Indrajit and he is now called by the name Nirmal Kumar Roy. And I told you that there are many number of Manasis in the play. Manasi is actually an image. And it is to be called an anima or a collection of consciousness. The writer actually borrows the idea from Carl Gustav Jung, the great philosopher, who maintained the idea of collective consciousness. And besides the play Evam Indrajit, Badal Sircar has produced many number of plays like That Other History. It was produced in 1964, and in 1971 he came out with his play There Is No End. And there is also a very interesting satirical play Kachatata Pa. Kachatata Pa. Kachatata Pa. And Badal Sircar had produced a very famous play called Spartacus. And Spartacus was a play staged in many theaters all over the country. So it was performed in the street theaters, in the play performed before the public, Spartacus. The story was borrowed from Howard Foster, an American playwright. Howard Foster, the story of Spartacus. And the story of Spartacus actually influenced the Naxalite movement. So it was the story of slave revolt. And the same play was performed all over the country before the public in the street theater. And the story was actually borrowed from Howard Foster, an American playwright. The story of slave revolt that took place in Rome in 71 BC. And the same story is produced by Badal Sircar, entitled Spartacus, and performed in the street theater all over the country. And Badal Sircar died in 2011. And he has been regarded as one of the greatest of Indian playwrights. And the one playwright who started the Absurdist plays in India. And thank you for the